Hi grade 4s, today we are looking at the Pears family. We're going into a little bit of history now, and what I'm going to do is I will read through the story and then we'll discuss some of the more tricky questions at the end. The Pears family. The names of Victor and Bertie Pears are remembered in Fishhook and beyond because of the discoveries they made in the cave which is named after them. Fun fact, that cave is found behind our school. Victor Pears, who was born in Australia, where the family lived on a farm, and he grew up with an interest in plants. When the Anglo-Boer War broke out in 1899, he joined the army. He was wounded and sent to the Cape to recover, and as his strength returned, he walked in the mountains around Cape Town and discovered the Cape flora. The image on this page is a picture of Victor Pears holding a skull. Now we're going to find out a little bit more of that on our next slide. In 1920, Victor and Bella Pears, with their son Bertie and daughter Dulcie, moved to the new village of Fishhook, where they bought a house in 5th Avenue. It was not long before, exploring his new surroundings, he went into what was then known as the Skildergat Cave. This word means painter's cave, and picked up what he thought were early stone tools. As the excavation progressed, they uncovered a shell midden. The remains of 6 people, 2 women and 4 children were buried below this layer, and with them were found ostrich eggshell beads, shell pendants, and a piece of rusted iron, which is thought to have been a spearhead. There were also the remains of small leather bags, together with pieces of mother of pearl and stone tools. Below the midden were the remains of 2 more people, and then a 9th skeleton was found, the skull of a male. His remains were the oldest, and people called him the Fishhook Man. People all over the world were fascinated by these discoveries. If we have a look at the top picture, that is Victor Pears while he works on excavating a skeleton, and then the bottom picture is a picture of the cave after they had finished all their excavations. Interested sightseers and amateur archaeologists all came to see what they could find. Many stone tools were found in the area and taken away as souvenirs. A collection was left to the Fishhook municipality and is now kept at the Fishhook Valley Museum. Under our current laws, anyone removing an archaeological artifact from the place where it was found would be liable for a heavy fine. The reason behind this is because if there is no record of exactly where it was found and under what circumstances, its history is ruined. All it tells us is that somewhere an early man made a stone tool. Here in this picture we have Victor Pears, who looks like he's taking a break after working very hard with his excavation of the cave. One of Bertie Pears' greatest interests was snakes. He first built a small snake enclosure in his garden. Later he opened a snake park near the entrance to Cape Town Pier, where visitors could see and hear about the snakes. They were all milked and so was safe for him to handle. He often bought snakes brought in by those who had caught them. Some of the snakes were sold to him for 90 cents. One day in 1939, he was bitten by a new snake that had been put into the enclosure before being milked. Having treated himself with an injection, he went home, only to become very ill later. He died in hospital that night, leaving a wife and a young son. Victor Pears, who was in poor health, died a few months later. And in this image we have Bertie Pears holding one of his snakes meaning. So, discoveries, the action or process of discovering or being discovered, that is finding the different things. Cape flora, a scrubland vegetation found along a narrow strip of the extreme southern coast of South Africa, that is where we live. Surroundings, things and conditions around a person or thing. Excavation, the act of excavating something, especially an archaeological site. So that would be the digging up or uncovering of the different things. A shell midden. A midden is an old dump for domestic waste. It was used by our San and Khoisan people, and it was pretty much their dustbins. Fascinated to attract the strong attention and interest of someone or something. Archaeologists, they study archaeology, and that is the act of uncovering or excavating historical pieces or artifacts. Then souvenirs, to have a souvenir is to take a memento, so something as a memory. Then artifact, an object made by a human being, typically one of cultural or historical interest, so something that an archaeologist would find. And then our last one is milked, to extract sap or venom or other substances. So that is what Bertie did with the snake.